Yo guys, Vision Gen here, back with more Call of Duty Zombies content. Today's episode will be around Eisendrache, another iconic map in Call of Duty Zombies, a staple, arguably the best high-round zombie map of all time, alongside Kina Toten, Buried, Derice, and a handful more. But even for some, this is the best map of all time, with an amazing Easter egg as well, but of course that is debatable for various different factors, which I'll go over in this video. This is episode 5 of the Zombie series, with my previous episodes being based on the World at War maps, Kino from Black Ops 1, and Origins from Black Ops 2, so go check them out if you want to see them out, and then also they are linked in the description below in case. So on that note, let's get right into it. So just as a general overview, first things first, what a map Eisendrache is, right? One of the best maps of all time in my personal opinion. I know majority of players who have played this map and who have played pretty much all of the maps in general will agree with me here that this map is one of the best of all time for sure. And for me, this map is an all-timer. It varies between top 3. I sort of typically change my opinion on where it lies, whether it's the best, whether it's second or third, between this, Gorod, and Origins. They're sort of my top 3, but then, like I said, the list changes all the time. But I would be interested to hear what you guys think on what are the top 3 maps in your guys' opinion. What would be the criteria in which you're basing it off of as well, whether it's like high round, Easter egg, or just general experience in the prime of that map and what it was like, because there are so many different factors. Of course, whenever maps are ranked, they can be determined by, like I said, high round potential, replayability, Easter eggs, boss fights, elemental weapons, map layout, enjoyable features within the map itself, as well as things like nostalgic elements, such as like what the map was like in its prime, how it fared against previous maps, of course, at the time it was out, how it's grown as time has gone on. As we all know, different maps sort of get worse or better in time, and like breaking aspects, what it did for the community, and so on. There's so many different aspects or criteria of which maps are ranked and based off of. And this map, unlike most, literally ticks all of those boxes, and it has a great layout in general. Like the playability of this map is amazing. Nothing too complex, but with the anti-gravity, the wonder spheres, the rocket features, it really allows for like a more unique experience for newer players, as well as the great replayability aspect as well. Like I've mentioned, I've replayed this map countless times in itself. I never get bored of this map. You can literally do the Easter egg solo, albeit I do actually find that the boss fight itself is quite challenging. And if you've given it a while, especially in between like your last Easter egg attempt, I find that you can definitely sort of struggle to do this. I think a lot of people I've seen talk about this Easter egg and they just make it sound like it's a breeze. They must be experts or just have done this many times, because I definitely don't think this Easter egg is easy by any means, especially that boss fight. But it is manageable solo. The bows are incredible, arguably better than the staves of Origins, but I guess that is another debate to be had. But I'll leave that up for you guys to decide. Let me know down below in the comments which one you prefer. Is it the staves or is it the bows? But just remember, another thing to factor in is another player's list is to their own opinion, and unless we are all voting off the same criteria, each are to their own views. So we've got to respect what each person's lists are and what they mean to them, as people just base theirs of mostly on individual experiences, what that map meant to them during the time it was a sort of around, and also what it means to them all time and how you sort of fare back in your memories and all that sort of stuff. So it's completely fair that each player has their own list, and you have to respect that. But I guess if we're going off a set criteria, then that's when it gets really debatable. Now, as for the boss fight on this map, this was a groundbreaking one for me and many others in the community. It was legit like the first ever boss fight arena we ever got to this point in Zombies, and that's kind of crazy to me when you consider it, because Zombies had been around for what, 7 or 8 years at this point, and with many different Easter eggs before in Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. I think like the first boss fight being in this map really transcended and pushed this map into another direction above pretty much all other maps. The Easter egg in itself at the time was so challenging and groundbreaking, especially as a 4-man, needing all 4 bows and having to rely on other players to acquire their upgraded bows, but at such a low round as well, to ensure better chances in the boss fight versus the Panzers, etc. And I remember how it was basically sort of took the community a while to figure out this sort of the Wisp step and the Easter egg in general, and all of the awkward details throughout the entire Easter egg. I just remember it so vividly, like it was yesterday, and I must admit, I remember struggling with my team back in the day on this map and the Easter egg in general. Like me and my cousin, who I played pretty much all of the Zombies with, basically from World at War all the way to now, is pretty much who I experienced all of these maps with. We used to pretty much do like the fire and the void bows and all of the challenging aspects of Easter eggs, because we could never really find 2 stronger counterpart teammates to play with for the most part. So therefore we had to sort of do and go above and beyond in certain areas to try and make it easier. And I just remember struggling on this map in general, especially in that boss fight. For some reason, my friends, whoever I played with, whether it was randoms or friends, just seemed to struggle really badly, especially in that boss fight, like I said. Because what we used to do is we used to just take the fire and void bows, because what I believe to be the most 2 challenging bows, and then our 2 friends used to then struggle with the lightning or wolf bows, even though I do think they're fairly easy and straightforward to use. I guess maybe the lightning shocks could be quite tricky to use the later part, where you sort of got to use the charge shot and hit the actual sort of the pyres themselves. If you're not used to it or not precise, I guess they can be difficult. And even in the boss fight, like I said, I remember dying a lot to the electrocution phase and struggling to defeat all the Panzers, etc. But once we did it, oh god, I remember that scream of relief and joy, having finally defeated the giant gatekeeper. It was such an exciting feeling, even though I thought basically, I even forgot that the Easter egg was still going on after. I was like lightheaded. That's how much I screamed. And I just remember that basically that the Easter egg wasn't completed, and I was just like, what's going on? Why haven't we done it? Like, what do we have to do now? And I kind of had to like regain and remember exactly what to do. Like, I was literally celebrating prematurely, thinking, yeah, we done it, we done it. And then it was like, why is it still going? Where is the cutscene? Like, what's happening? Like, this surely isn't it. And then eventually I realized that it sort of regained, go back, think about what we actually did, and I was like, oh shit, hang on, we actually haven't done this step, which basically you have to go to the actual pyramid itself, grab the summoning key from the knight's tomb, place it down on the terminal up above, and then remember basically panicking mid-round in the high 20s as to why it wasn't completed, until I then realized, and then finally we got to witness the moon being blown up after all those years, having completed the Easter egg back in Moon, back in the day, years prior, and watching the Earth now be blown up, basically just seeing it go in full circle. It was such a surreal feeling for me, just seeing the two different aspects. It was such a cool thing, and I just remember it like it was yesterday. I love this map. I think it's an all-timer for me for so many different reasons, as I said in this video, and this is why basically I'm making a separate video in the future on just the bows aspect alone. The overall experience of doing the bows and getting all four of them upgraded is something I've really enjoyed playing and doing and making a part of this content for this channel, for this map especially, and for this game. Something I definitely want to have on the channel as a record of both having done the Easter egg, but also the process of actually doing the bows and going over them in a bit more detail. It's just something more for me, but of course you guys can go check that out. It will be linked in the description below. It'll be coming out in the next week or so, but that is something I've really enjoyed doing. Like, doing the bows is never chore for me. I would always like doing any of the four bows. I personally don't like doing the fire bow the most because of obviously the awkward shots that you have to hit off of the Wonder Spheres, but for the most part I absolutely love doing the bows and love this Easter egg and of course this map. I appreciate this game is nearly literally a decade old now, which is kind of depressing when you think about that, but like for the most part I've not made this content for these maps to try and gain subscribers and for the older maps, because I appreciate no one is trying to watch these videos to learn how to use Easter eggs or so on. These are literally for me to have actual footage of doing these Easter eggs and these experiences for these maps, and something that I can't explain as to why I want them basically on the channel. It's just to look back and witness doing them all over again. It's such a surreal feeling. I like knowing that I've actually got footage of doing them, because I don't from back in 2015, 16, whenever you did these maps, or even before back in like World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, so on. Like, I don't have any footage of actually doing them, so it was basically like a realization moment for me to want to go back, do these maps, have actual footage, put them on the channel, reflect on what I thought of these maps and my views and where I would rank them and so on. That's kind of like the purpose, I guess, of this series and this content. So hopefully there are people that are enjoying the content and hopefully appreciate and can relate to exactly what I'm saying. And hopefully there are also other people that were around back in the day from the World at War days, from 17 years on now, which is pretty crazy to think that I literally started playing Call of Duty back in like 2007, COD 4, but World at War being the first Zombies game. Wow, what an experience, and it has been such a fun journey, and sort of going to lead into how I'm going to progress the Zombies series all the way through to Black Ops 6, which is current day, and then all the way through to Black Ops 7 when it comes out, to try and do as many different sort of Easter eggs, high round strategies, and so on for all of the different maps. So that is just a general overview of the series in case you guys weren't aware. But like generally, when you look back or think about these Easter eggs, there's actually a lot of little intricate details that you kind of forget and you don't really think of. It's only until you go and do the Easter egg again that you realize there's so many different things that we actually had to do, and sometimes it actually amazes me as to how we did these things. It's with little or limited knowledge, or even just sort of different players or random people that you did these moments or had these special moments with. It's kind of crazy to think about it all in all, which is basically like why I wanted to, again, to make this content, because it's really easy to forget those tricky parts, the fun and the failures, and trying to recall all of these special moments, which can be really difficult, especially if you've got lots of reps, or even as it left, like I said, left it a long time in between your last Easter egg attempt. So this is kind of like the summary as to why I basically want this content. But look, that's it really in summary for this episode. As I've said, I really want to create this content as a memory to have here on the channel, as well as sharing my own story, my own experiences, which hopefully reignites that spark for old timers that want to play this all over again and realize that these maps just continue to get better as they age, and they never get old. They really don't. You can literally go and download this game tomorrow and go and have a great time. I promise you, you're going to get addicted if you guys are an old timer and you haven't played for a while. I promise you, just make sure you're aware that you're going to get addicted, because God, I downloaded this on like a weekend, and then I realized all week, it was like on a Sunday, and then I realized that I got to wait all week in order to find some actual time to play these maps and try and do these Easter eggs, which, so just a little general tip or advice, I guess, for anyone that is going to re-download this, or anyone that is excited to play these maps again, whether you have a goal in mind or wanted to complete the Easter eggs, or whether you simply just want to have a spontaneous high round experience. It's always a blast, especially on Eisendrache, one of the best maps of all time, as I've said. Like I said, and remind you guys, I want you guys to let me know down below what your top 3 maps are, but more so importantly, is Eisendrache in that list? And if not, you have to let me know why, because I'm really curious as to why players would not like this map. I think it literally ticks all of the boxes. I've said it in this video, it has every aspect of Call of Duty Zombies that you can enjoy, especially being the first boss arena as well. You cannot forget that part, and playing it in its prime, it has to be one of the greatest maps of all time. It just has to be. So I have to know why other players do not think that, if that is the case. But anyways, guys, that's the video. As always, if you've enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, tips or tricks about playing this map or zombies in general that you want to share for newer players or even for myself that maybe I wasn't aware of, or even any suggestions about future videos that you want to see on the channel, let me know down below in the comments and I'll get right back to you. I'm Visionist Gen. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.